Hello everyone and welcome back to the Barrel and our series where we analyse each AFL club's 2024 fixture, identify some breakout players and set a realistic passing mark for their season. Today we have the Sydney Swans. After a very disappointing outing in the 2022 grand final loss for the Cats, the Swans just managed to scrape into the 8 in 2023, but they had some fantastic pickups in the off-season and their young guns showed some promising signs. So there's a fair amount of optimism, both among the media and the fans themselves. So where can they finish? That's the question we'll be answering today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as we quickly recap their 2023 season and see what 2024 holds for them.
Last year, the Swans finished 8th on the ladder with 12 wins, a draw, and a loss. They failed to dominate a lot of games. They couldn't really string any wins together until late in the year. They looked extremely dodgy after being thumped by 93 in Geelong. They lost to GWS, Collingwood, Freo, and only barely beat the struggling North Melbourne side after that. However, from round 18 onwards, they really clicked into gear and showed us some form from 2022. They beat the Dogs, Fremantle, Essendon, GWS, the Suns, and the Crows, albeit controversially. And unfortunately, their season came to an end in an elimination final against the Blues at the MCG, which was a fantastic game. And they certainly could have won it if they took more of their opportunities in front of goal. Their 2024 fixture was ranked the third hardest. They have 2 byes in round 5 and 12, 11 games at the SCG, 6 Victorian games, 3 of which at the MCG and 3 at Marvel Stadium. With respect to double-ups, they play the Crows, Collingwood, Essendon, Fremantle, GWS and the Bulldogs twice. The Crows, Collingwood and GWS are not a team I would want to be playing twice. They're all fantastic sides looking for top 4 finishes, and I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of them make the top 4 this year. The Giants I see as the most dangerous of those 3 sides, seeing how close they were to a grand finals berth last year and how good their list and coaching team is, so I'd watch out for them with extra caution. Essendon, Fremantle and the Dogs are the weaker of those teams. Essendon had a lot of changes this off-season, brought in a lot of seemingly quality players. We'll see how they adjust to that on-field shift. I'm not quite sure if they'll improve as much as people think. I think they'll be around the same spot they were in 2023. Fremantle had a shocking 2023 after being pretty good in 2022, so they'll be looking to climb back up the ladder. They've got a young, developing list and plenty of guns, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them make their way back up. And the Bulldogs, who have probably 2 of the best players in the competition in Bontempelli and Tim English in their respective positions, however, can't take their extraordinarily talented list and translate that onto on-field success. So we'll see if Bevo can prove himself, maybe shift the magnets and help the Dogs make their way back into the 8, which they definitely have the potential to do. This fixture is very tough for the Swans, especially for a team that barely scraped into the 8 last year. As I said before, they play 3 very good sides in Adelaide, Collingwood and the Giants twice. Even those other 3 are nothing to sneeze at. They don't have any back-to-back home games at any point, and they have an extremely hard run home, which is pretty tough, especially if they don't have the start of the season that they're hoping. They play against Brisbane at the Gabba, the Dogs, Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, Collingwood, Essendon at Marvel Stadium and Adelaide. So they'll need to play very well if they are to make their way back up the ladder, which is seeming to be a pretty hard task this year for the Swans. For some breakout players, I've listed 3 based on what I saw last year. Number 1, Logan McDonald. With Buddy Franklin gone, Logan needs to step up big time as the Swans lack the star quality up forward now. He kicked 32 goals last year, but needs to step up even further if the Swans are to do any damage at all. I think he can do it. He's a beautiful kick, beautiful mark, nice and strong, and he could be the focal point playing at full forward. However, I think that Longmire might pop him at centre half forward, which should propel him. Angus Sheldrick played a few games in the middle last year and showed plenty. He looked like a natural in there. With Mills out for a portion of the year, I expect Sheldrick to impose himself into a permanent role in the midfield and be yet another youthful asset that the Swans have in that midfield. Absolutely would not be surprised to see him average 20 plus touches this year, possibly even pushing 25. And finally, Joel Amartey, similar to McDonald, really needs to step up now that Buddy's gone. He could play centre half forward or full forward, but I'd tip him to play at that full forward role. He kicked 20 goals last year, being in and out of the side. I can see his numbers increasing greatly with more opportunity this year, especially now that he'll be the main man down there presenting as an option. He and McDonald must break out. Otherwise, finding goals for the Swans will be far too difficult, especially with the lack in tall quality talent they have in the forward line. Now, with regards to a passing mark, coming off an elimination finals loss, the Swans will be wanting to get their 2022 form back, where they made the grand final. It all really depends on how they combat their difficult fixture and if their forward stocks can find enough goals. While I'm optimistic, I wouldn't put any money on it, so I'm not sure they'll do as well as 2022, but I can see them making some ground on where they finished in 2023. So for a passing mark, I'd set them the challenge of making the 8 and winning a final. Their backline is led by the ever-reliable Tom McCartan. You also probably will have the newly recruited Joel Hamling at full-back with Lloyd and Rampy supporting him. Florent and Blakey off the half back lines. Robbie Fox and Melican could find their way into that back six at some stage. However, I don't have them making the side as of yet. Cunningham's another utility you can throw pretty much anywhere. However, with his age, I don't really see him getting a good run at it at all. Their midfield, Callum Mills likely misses a portion of the season with that pre-season injury, so Sheldrick probably replaces him in the middle. You got Campbell and Errol Goulden on the wings, who are both fantastic left foot boot kicks. You've also got Brodie Grundy, the newly recruited ruckman from the D's, who I'm sure will get back to his All-Australian form. Taylor Adams was pushed onto a half forward at Collingwood, so he'll be looking to get more inside mid opportunity now at the Swans. And the ever-reliable Luke Parker, he's been around for ages. He's a hard nut and he offers plenty of experience to teach those younger crop in there. James Rowbottom is another one who finds himself in the midfield quite a bit. He's severely underrated in my book. A tackling machine, just an absolute gun and one who doesn't get enough recognition. James Jordan's another one who could potentially make his way into that midfield. I'm not sure where the Swans will throw him, probably in the forward line, but he could play in some midfield situations. Matt Roberts is probably another one that comes to mind in that midfield. Didn't get really any games at all. Got injured down in Geelong, so he was starved of opportunity. He could also make his way into the side there. And their forward line, this is the most important line for them in 2024, in my opinion. As I said before, Amartey and McDonald, the two tall targets down there, must have good years. Otherwise, Hayward, Papley, Warner and Isaac Heaney, they can only do so much, and forward lines heavily rely on their big options to get it done, with those little ones just supporting them. McLean is an interesting player. He's one of those secondary rucks that can offer some pretty good value up forward. And Sam Wicks, who I'm not sure will make the final side, however he could find his way into the team at any stage, is also a decent forward option, severely underrated as well. So they have plenty of good options as Swans. However, as I said, despite the amount of star quality that they have, it'll all translate into the forward line, whether those young and undetermined forwards can get the job done in the absence of an absolute superstar and great of the game retiring in Buddy Franklin. Their midfield and backline are both very solid, so I expect them to perform similarly to what they have in successful years gone by. So the Swans are looking ominous for 2024. I'm very intrigued to see how they go. Can Horse guide them back to the pointy end in September, or will they suffer another early season end? That's all I have. There'll be a best 22 video in the description for an idea of who we have making their final team, and that'll do it. Join us next time as we analyse the West Coast Eagles for season 2024. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.